was so close to beating it. Okay, their earrings are on. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Morning Wood. I'm your host, Allie Burns. This is Detroit Lenny. We're here from Picks and Parlays on the Max Wagers Network, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, home of the no sweat first bet. All you got to do is follow the link in the description of this video. Click on that puppy and it'll take you right there. No sweat first bet up to $1,000. And if you're in the state of Ohio, they're going to drop an extra 100, not an extra 100. They're going to drop 100 into your account without making any bets, without depositing, even though you guys don't go live until January. Very exciting. Also, like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. We're going to have some Scott Reichel action a little later today. About a half an hour here. He'll be coming on, and he was 2-2 on his primetime prop drop yesterday, so not too bad.
We'll take
not
it.
too bad at all. My kid just showed me this video of this little cat that goes to college, and like his owner it was on TikTok, and his owner went to college, and then when he graduated, he left the cat. But now the cat goes like to all the classes just like he used to with his owner, and he has a little dorm and eats lunch and all that stuff. And then at the end of the video, Escher's like, that cat gets better grades than me. And I'm like, you should think about that. Sit in here and think about that.
Yeah, you just sit there. You sit there until you realize what the problem is. Yeah, that's Mandy's new thing. When the kids are arguing, we have, you not to say this easily, but you have just one. We have three that all argue. And
in fairness, like, you have two parents, and I'm only me. So.
That's fair. Exactly. 100%. 100%. Yeah, it's all fucking balanced at the end.
I couldn't have three kids. Even with a husband, I couldn't do three kids. So much respect.
And two that live out of state that sometimes they're more worked than the little ones. But what they do is now her thing is when they're arguing, because they're like 10, 12, and 13. Now they hate each other and they love each other and within the same 5 minutes. So now she's like, I'll make you two sit at the kitchen table, hold hands and say nice things to each other.
I love that. That's horrible.
And I'm like, and I cringe. I'm like, ooh. And me and Brendan were going back and forth last night after his trunk or treat thing, and we were kind of joking. And I'm like, you didn't get me no candy. You didn't give me no Reese cups, bro. Who goes to trunk or treat doesn't get their dad's Reese cups? What kind of best friend are you? That's what I said. We were like joking. He's like, didn't have any, blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, Brendan,
you ate them all on the way home. I know you did.
Yeah, you did. I know you did. You have them hidden in your room somewhere. If I find them, you're grounded until you move out. And then he's like, I didn't have my hemp. So Mandy hit us with that. Hey, you two don't act right. I make you sit at the kitchen table, hold hands, and say nice things to each other. And I'm like, we just kind of looked at each other like,
too much. You've gone too far.
Too far, Lenny. Too far.
That's fantastic. What's up, Breaking Vegas? Oh my. So yeah, what a weird freaking football game last night. It was just kind of like, I did not bet it. I said I wasn't going to bet it. My final answer was the Bucks, though. Even though all before the week I was Ravens, but after all that weird line movement, my final answer just went to the Bucks. So I was wrong. I also really liked the Ravens first half. That was wrong. We did dig on the over. I was kind of into the over there, but I didn't bet it at all. And I'm just glad I didn't. That was just such a weird game. But the Fournette anytime touchdown, that cashed rather quickly.
It did. So did Lamar Jackson over longest rush over 17.5 or 18.5. He had a 25-yard rush. So that was a nice little cash for me as well. I'm trying to send you my office bar stuff, and I just changed a pick. And I'm not even going to tell you which one I changed till afterwards. But I'm sending them to you now. I think that's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, it's right
7,
here.
8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10.
It just looks
I think
like
that's 10. This is the last week I have. With the next week, I'll have an actual sheet.
Oh, wow. So let's take a look.
Yeah.
The World Series starts today.
Yes, it does.
I don't know if you heard about that.
In fact, my handicap 10 plays are going to be both pitchers over strikes. Over strikeouts.
I like that.
I do. I got both I got both of them. I got Nola over 5.5 and Verlander over 6.5. Verlander over 6.5 is plus 116, and Nola over 5.5 is minus 118. So I'm gonna roll with that. Like, I mean, I'm gonna post it right now. Oh, we got Handicapper last Woody standing news.
Oh yeah, they both lost.
Yep.
You guys both lost, so you both need to pick again. And if you both lose again, it's going to roll over into the next pot. Thanks, Lenny. I found another pick today. The old last Woody. We needed. Oh, okay, never mind. You're doing it. Ice Trae Young, Atlanta Hawks over 26.5 points. That's your old one.
Oh, hold on.
I've noticed the Woodies have sucked at liking videos despite putting in picks. That's a dick move, y'all. Just
dick
saying.
Move. Straight up dick move.
Hashtag be better. So yeah,
he's just trying to get on my nice side before what we would like to call what we call in the industry a good old fashioned passionate ass whooping. I'm telling you, it's coming right now. I've been holding off all week. My excitement. I saw the unis. The Michigan State Spartan. They messaged me what unis they're wearing. They're wearing the iced out all whiteys. I'm telling you right now, it's like a ghost. About to swoop in and snatch your soul out of a Wolverine tomorrow morning.
Ooh, I like it.
Afternoon.
I like it.
That's what we're doing.
Not a great. I mean, I feel like there's going to be some.
Just saying.
Well, I don't even want to say it.
Oh, there's going to be a throw.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Best Bets. Okay, so I'm looking at your NFL picks. So you're going to take the Cowboys over the Bears.
Yeah.
You're going to take the Patriots over the Jets. I like that because you already broke that down for us.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite play.
Dolphins over the Lions, Raiders over the Saints. That's going the right way. No Cardinals. Yeah. Steelers. You're taking the Eagles over the Steelers.
Yeah, you got to lay some. I mean, it's all money line.
Yeah, this is all money line bets. And let me tell you guys this too. Lenny is in first place. There's a big office bar contest, the bar that we go to, or that I go to mostly, but Lenny comes to also.
Have been known to show up.
Yeah, that's just it. But it's my regular bars. They're putting a Naked City pizza into Lucky Joe's, which Lucky Joe's is my regular bar on this side of town. I'm so excited. I'm like so excited. I heard about this. I hope it's true. Folks. I hope it's not just a little things. It really is. It truly is. Anyway, so there's an office bar pool. You have to pick 10 on the money line every week, and Lenny's in first place, and my Josh is in third place. So you guys are going at it right now. So he needs one more pick. This is what we're kind of going over. He needs one more pick for that. That's what I was thinking, Tate. I didn't want to say it, but that's exactly what I was thinking about the white.
Okay. I see what's happening.
The best color to wear if you're gonna shit the bed, just.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: if we get blown out, is anybody surprised? No.
You have nothing to lose.
If we compete in this game, then it's like, it's just a rivalry game. If we win this game, we shock the world.
Yeah,
including me. So
and then Tate has to wear a Detroit Lions jersey and take a picture of it and put it on to Facebook.
Tate, how far are you away from, I know you're on the other side of the state, but how far are you away from Detroit?
He's in Illinois.
Yeah, like I said, it's like 4 hours away then.
Oh, aren't you like in Chicago?
Where in Illinois? Because that's like a 4-hour ride.
On the south side.
I'll be honest with you, I'm worth the drive, baby. Baby, I'm worth it. As my wife would say.
You guys should say, babe, when you're in Michigan, you should definitely. That's what
I'm saying. As my wife would say, babe, you don't need that. We don't have to order everything off Amazon. And she'd say, oh, baby, I'm worth it. And then I'm like, all right, whatever.
How many people are left in the Woody?
9. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from this week. 2 from last week, and then 5 from this week. Korma, Velko, Easy Mula, Sean Austin, and Ryan Page. I'm gonna have to check Sean Austin's shit though, because I don't know about him. No, I'm just kidding. Sean, yeah. So there's the 5, and then AB and Tate the Great are still in it from last week. They just lost. They both lost. Yeah, it's official. They're filing for
Breaking news.
the Big D.
Well, I always liked a Big D.
Not me.
So,
not
so much.
No.
I'm divorced, Lenny. I've had 2 Big
That's
Ds.
what I've said. Me too.
Yeah.
Fan.
Bulls -5.
Cheaper to keeper. Tom, cheaper to keeper.
Ain't that the truth? Actually, if she makes more money than him, then she could be paying him alimony. That's how that works.
There you go, Tom. Get yourself a cushy broadcasting job.
Yeah,
you know
retire. Retire.
Any
break in those money checks.
Yeah. Fox, ESPN, Morning Wood. They'd all love to have you. Okay. Feel free. You know, I mean, come. You know, you would be great. Here's my circle plays. I have done that.
Okay.
I'm a little skeptical on a couple. I have. Let me just pull up circle lines so I know what they are because I didn't write. Of course, why would you write that down, Lenny? Why would you write that down?
Oh, the other thing I wanted to bring up. Go ahead.
I'm taking the Raiders minus -1.5 in circa. I'm taking the Patriots minus -2.5. I don't like this at all, but I'm taking the Giants +3, and I'm taking the Bengals minus -3.5. I don't care about the injury. Jamar Chase is out 4 to 6 weeks. I don't care. I'm fading the injury report. I am, and the Bengals are just a better team, and it's Monday Night Football. So.
And you're taking a Monday night game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, that's kind of where I'm at there. Oh, thank God.
Garbage truck?
No,
school bus.
Could be. I don't know. It's just a white. Somebody's getting furniture. Furniture, people. Somebody is. Maybe my wife ordered furniture. I don't even know. It's possible. And I'm kind of stuck on this. Man, I think Arizona wins straight up in Minnesota. Just straight up, but I don't trust the Vikings to. I had the Niners on the circle list and crossed it out. And then I took the Rams in the office bar thing because I think they win. So I'm back and forth with that game.
So the Niners and the Rams.
Niners and the Rams. Niners have already beat them once this year, and those teams usually split. So that was my theory on that. I don't expect that either team to sweep them divisional game. Right. I don't think either team sweeps. It's like, we'll split with the Bears. Doesn't matter what the record is. We'll split with the Packers. Doesn't matter what the record is, So I think I'm going to go Arizona because they're a really good road team, and it's a dome plus 3.5.
It's moving that way. 57% of the money's on the cards. It was a 6.5. Now it's a 3.5. So it's going that way.
I'm going to close my window real quick.
Okay. That's acceptable. That is
acceptable. I'm working over here.
I'm working here. Boop, 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 boop. What was I doing? Oh, that was on the. Oh, while he's gone. So I don't remember who sent this. Nick sent
back to
5.5 theory that we always
yes.
We're not calling it the law of Ross Benjamin anymore because we got a cooler name. The gamblers call it. Minus 5.5 is the devil's spread. I love it. But NFL dogs of +5 to +5.5 are 29-12 against the spread in the last 3 seasons. The gamblers call it minus 5.5, the devil's spread. So there you have it, people. It's a real thing. It is. Real thing.
Terry, I see you in the chat. I know your Vikings. Listen, I think your Vikings win. I don't know if they cover. 3 and a hook is the hook is that's the deciding factor for me, really. I think they could win by a field goal. Arizona is a better road team than they are a home team, which screams weirdness.
Yeah, at least Brady. Well, Brady has been throwing the ball. I mean, it's just like scoring the ball. Like in the one
Tom Brady has another record under his belt. He became the most sacked quarterback in NFL history last night.
Really? Did he?
In back-to-back plays, he tied Ben Roethlisberger for like 500 and some odd. I don't know what the number is, but so he tied him, and then on the very next play, the Ravens got back-to-back sacks. He's one play, he's tied for the most sacks with Ben Roethlisberger. Next play, he owns that record outright. He was sacked straight up. So
congratulations. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what the announcers were saying. They're like, listen, it's not a sack. It's not a record you want to hang your hat on, obviously. Right. But it also means you've been in the league a long time. So congrats to that.
And you can take a hit. You got to, you got a chin on.
You're durable. You could take a punch, all that.
Also, maybe think about playing for teams with better O-lines. Just think about that also. So this is a good question. I know. Does anyone ever argue with you that sports betting is real work? So there's two sides of that: gambling and handicapping. If you're a gambler, no, it's not hard work at all. You don't care enough. You want the action. You want to get the excitement. You want some money on the game. That's
not your home teams usually.
Yeah, home teams, big spreads, minus 10s and that kind of jazz, or big parlays. But if you're a handicapper, now that is work. That's a real live job. Josh makes fun of me about this all the time. He's like, well, I have a real job. I have to go to a real. I'm like, what do you think I do all day? And he says it, he jokingly, he doesn't mean it mean, but like I at the same time get where he's coming from. Like, I don't gamble for a living. I handicap, and also I'm a host and a budding YouTube sensation. It's hard work, people. It's hard work. So yeah. What about you? What's your side of this, Lenny?
I mean, I love when people, they're like, they're always intrigued when they hear what I do for a living, and I'm like,
oh, I'm a girl. Well, try being a girl and telling people I bet on sports.
Yeah. And they're like, and then they're all like, well, and then I love when they'll ask me like, well, what do you play? What do you have bet tonight? Like, what do you got going on? And then I'll go, this happened to me last weekend, Halloween party, sitting here, and somebody's like, I'm like, I'm watching this game. They're like, hey, can we put music on? And I'm like, after the game. And they're like, well, who really cares about, I forget what it was it a college football game or something? And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, and then my wife gives me the evil eye, and I'm like, all right, I'll watch it on my iPad, and I'll watch it here and put whatever. And I'm like, and they're like, well, how much money do you have? And I'm like,
doesn't matter.
Look, I'm like, look, I don't like, that's kind of like I was always raised, you don't ask somebody how much money they make. You don't ask a woman her age, stuff like that. Stuff like that. You don't also say, oh, I didn't know you were pregnant, because she might not be. She might be big. She might be big boned, stuff like that. It falls along those lines.
What's the biggest cash I've ever had? Like, what's the most money you made? I honestly could not tell you. Like, I know the least amount of money I've made on games. That would be zero.
I'm like,
I don't even
$5,000 on a game.
I don't remember my biggest cash ever. I don't know why. Maybe I hit for
$5,000 on a Super Bowl on a plus money.
That's a good one.
I mean, that was like years ago.
But I don't remember the number.
I'll vary.
I'm doing this shit.
I vary. I might have $100 on a game. I might have $5 on a game. I might have, you know what I mean? I might have a couple hundred. I don't know. Depends on what I like that day.
Depends on how many bets I've got on one game.
Exactly. I try to limit myself to a specific budget per day. Mm-hmm. And if that, say, is $100, and if I take that $100 and I might have 10 plays for $10, I might have one play for $100. I might have two for $50. I don't know, so, but people will ask me that, and then they're like, well, what do you have on the game? This is my favorite. And then you tell them, oh, I'm on USC in the over. And they're like, oh, no, that's not going to win. And I'm like, you just asked me to break down what I do for a living. Yeah. Like, I don't go to my mechanic and say, oh, you're going to rebuild the engine? Yeah, I'm going to start with that. No, I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't do that.
Like, bro, I'm in the great words of Tom Cruise in Days of Thunder, I drive. I don't work on cars. I drive them.
I drive.
I'm the driver in this situation. You want me to tell you what's wrong with the car? I don't know. I got to turn the radio down. You know, I mean,
A big part of it too, like, and to your point about watching a game, you know, like it took Escher a while to him to understand that, like, Thursday, I have to watch Thursday night football, whether I want to or not, or at least
Mandy
follow
too.
it on my phone or check in with it, because today, you know, like I've got to talk about it. I have to know what the hell is going on. So watching the games is very much part of my job. And then that goes, not even just talking about it, but then that goes into logging that, watching them on the field, getting a vibe off of this team. What do I feel is happening with them, so I can apply it to the next time that they play, you know? So it's, I do a lot better when I watch sports, when I'm not
I'll
just
tell you
betting.
what. Yes, 100%. And it's a lifestyle change for your whole household. When you just mentioned Escher and stuff, like me and Mandy, we watch a lot of shows and movies and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know, she knows Thursday night, we're not going to, like, I'm just going to make dinner and I'm probably going to flip through my phone all night because he's watching Thursday night football. Yeah. And he has to watch. I'm like, you know, it was a conversation. I'm like, the playoff baseball. I'm like, I got to watch these games.
Yeah.
And God forbid I have to freaking have Amazon on it and I can't flip to the baseball game or anything. I got to log out and then go to a different fucking app and do all this. So, and then she's like, how are you watching a 75-inch TV with one game on, a tablet with another game on, and my laptop on my lap on another game on? I'm like, because I got to know what's going on.
Yeah,
I got
to see it. And there's a vibe. Like for me, I want the vibe, especially in college basketball. Like I want to pick up on your energy of these five guys running. Like, are they in sync? Are they helping each other? Does it seem like they're happy and excited to play? Or are they ball hogging it? Like I'm very big on the vibe. Maybe it's like part of the chick in me, like my women's intuition handicapping. But with basketball, that's really important to me, is what do they feel like right now? You know, what does this team feel like?
Basketball, I could see that. I'm a big live bettor. I play a lot of in-play stuff. So I can't just go to ESPN and look at a score and go, okay, now I'm going to take this side. I got to know the momentum. I'm a momentum bettor. I am the Ravens just sacked you 2 times in a row. Son of a bitch. Give me the Ravens right now, because the momentum has swung. And you could see that at halftime. I bet the Ravens plus money at half. Plus points at half, and they were down 10-3 or whatever. I liked it. And
did you send Scott Reichel a link?
I did in YouTube. I told him I'd see him at 1:30.
Perfect.
10:30.
Keith says the 49ers are 7-0 against the Rams during the regular season. They swept the Rams the last 3 seasons and working on 4. Well, the playoffs didn't work out for them.
It's a divisional game though, so you know, I'm gonna take the
lay off of that one.
I don't like it. I don't like that game at all. But I don't like really. I mean, it's hard when it gets into this time of the year because you get bye weeks.
You got
to pick 10 games. You know, so there's only a couple that you can't like. You know what I mean?
The Niners went from a dog to a favorite, but that could have been a CMC thing too.
Yeah. See, I thought, okay. Niners, Christian McCaffrey's there now. He's there a week. He's got a full week under his belt practicing, getting a little bit of, momentum. Whatever. Call of Duty's being released. They've been saying that for like 2 weeks. He's probably got that shit prior to release, by the way.
Right. Hey, Callie loves sports. Yeah, everybody, don't forget to hit that like button. You don't have to make me like sports. I already like sports. But I do, what I like even more than sports is positive energy. So hit that like button, share with your friends, subscribe. Guys, we're bringing back the whiteboard next week and index cards. If you haven't heard, we're going to try to work this out and get it a little bit closer to what our old show used to be. But if you want the old show to be the new show from now on, we got to get more viewers in. I have stated my claim that I think that if I have that whiteboard, we will get more morning Woodies into the chat. We'll get more viewers, more likes, all that. I said the whiteboard is what made the difference. Lenny agreed that we had a great time with that whiteboard and we can get some new viewers. So it's going to be a little bit rocky, but we're bringing it back. And If you want to keep the whiteboard, you guys got to share and like and subscribe and all that stuff to keep us going. Otherwise, we're going to go back to almost adulting format, which is fine too. If I disprove myself that I don't get more likes and views with the whiteboard, then I don't need to do it. Then it's too much of a pain in my ass.
Her and Craig Trapp are making my life miserable. Let me just tell you, because I got my wife, my work wife in one ear. I got my boss in my other ear, and they're both going on the whiteboard. I just want.
What
the
did he
back.
say about the whiteboard? He won't.
No,
respond.
he's just like he won't give a clear cut.
Answer.
I hate the whiteboard, whatever, anything. So, I don't know.
We're going to see what happens. Because here's the deal, right? There's number one rule in handicapping is that the numbers don't lie, right? So we're going to see. We're going to see with the numbers and see what happens. I want more morning Woodies. We want more morning Woodies. That's what we want. Another record. So he is in West Michigan. He just goes to, he's from Chicago. He goes there all the time. Okay. So he's in West Michigan is what he said.
All right. Well, I'll be in Detroit next weekend.
Yeah, it's a trap most of the time, Hector. So Ross Benjamin brought this to our attention last football season, and I actually used it with Laterica, and I used it through college basketball season. The 5.5 number, if you can get plus 5.5,
the devil's number for real.
The rule is to always find a way to take the dog, to take the plus 5.5. And at the beginning of the season, we had like 2 teams did it in 1 week. It's proven true for us for most of this season so far. It is supposed to be strictly a football thing, but I use it in basketball too. But yeah, so don't lay minus, it's 5 or 5.5. That's the devil's spread, and you want to be on the dog. And I believe it was 29 and 12 over the last 3 seasons was the stat on that. So everyone remember that there is a 12 to that 29 wins. There is a 12 losses. It doesn't work every single time, but I've been really successful with it this season. My wife said, no, you're not finna convince me gambling is work. I go, I don't gamble. I handicap. Exactly.
Bam.
Thank you.
Boom, shakalaka, mic drop. We're out, folks. Take care.
Yep. Tell Cookie to call me. I'll break it down for her. Tell her to call me. I'll break it down.
All right. So breaking news. I just text you. I'm going to take the Rams Niner game off.
Okay. Good idea.
I'm going to replace it with quite possibly the worst game on the slate. The London game, I'm taking the Jags over Bronco Country.
And the Jags, aren't they like the
Jags are like
London?
Yeah, listen, they have great success in London. Yeah. I just hate betting those games.
You let her know. I have to type all of these.
Hold on, I can resend. I could resend them.
I'm just gonna write them down, and I'll take a picture and send it.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
fair.
I know I'm a pain in the ass. And my packet, you get a packet, folks. Let me just explain it. You get a whole ass packet, right? And then you get like sheets, like it says like week 9, and just circle and sign your name and turn it in. Well, my packet was missing week 7 and 8, so I have to text them to Allie, and then she turns them in for me. So then I text her last week, and I'm like, these 4, no, wait, and I'm like, shit. I should probably just do one text 10 games and not like, I'm going to take these 3 2 days later, maybe take those 4, you know.
I'm going to send this in one text. I'm going to go hold it down, copy, go out, and turn to Chavez, hold it down, paste, and then I'm done with my job.
And then I'm like, I immediately apologize profusely. I'm like, hey, look, I know I'm a pain in the ass. I appreciate you proxy before me doing all this. I'm so sorry. I'm a pain in the ass. Like, I get it. I know I'm a pain in the ass. I'm still sorry. Like, blah, 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 right? And she's like, I got you. Don't worry.
We find out.
But we're in first place, Allie Burns. We're out to crush. We're crushing the country.
Woo! I knew it as soon as I saw that.
I didn't think I was in first. I was like, I'm 44 and 26. I'm like, that's not.
I didn't realize she'd be in first either. I want to know what Kelly in Vegas does this contest too. I want to know what she's in.
Crushing her. You can't come at me like that.
I know Josh does not like to lose, so he's going to come for you this week.
There's going to be some. There'll be a few shots for sure for me and him at the end of this contest.
I keep trying to get
shit goes on all year. I mean, we're 70 picks in, right? What week are we on? 8. So we're 70 picks in. Shit, I still got 100 more to go. So there's a lot of football left. I mean, this goes 17 weeks. So
Okay, I'm sending you off.
Scott Michelle's in the house.
Scott Reichel. So JoJo says about handicapping, I didn't know what it was for me at first, but then when I started to pay bills consistently with it, it is what I do now. Even the wife has accepted it. So Scott, the question was, we were talking about the difference between basically gambling and handicapping. How do you take it when you tell people that you bet on sports for a living or you do what we do? Do people think that it's not work kind of thing? Here it is. Slow chat.
Slacker.
Does anyone ever argue with you that sports betting is real work? That would be my.
The term real work throws me off because some people think that it's relatively luck-based, which it partially is. I'm not going to deny that. You still need things to go your way, and other people understand it. But, for example, my own mother doesn't really understand it that well. She's not much of a sports bettor at all. She thinks that it's a lot of luck involved, which, I mean, there's some, but the point is, the way that I would describe the difference between gambling and sports betting professionally is really trying to maximize the edge that you can get in a specific game and trying to take advantage of it throughout a long period of time. And I feel like most...
No, it's mine. Sorry, my daughter's calling me. You know, it's that time.
Right.
Here, can you answer the phone for Brianna and tell her that I'm working? I know she doesn't think that what I do for a living is that we're having that conversation right now.
Go ahead. Sorry,
go ahead. I was just going to say, I feel like the main difference between people that bet professionally and people that do it recreationally or even just, gamble for the hell of it is really based on the fact that you're trying to make a steady income with it and you believe that you can find a significant edge by doing a lot of research. And I feel like most people that do it recreationally don't bother with the research or really trying to find an edge of any kind. They just see a game on TV, they want to bet on it. It's effort.
That was my answer. I said, no, it's not hard to be a gambler because you're just taking favor. You just want action on the game. You're just, it's recreational, it's fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you have an expendable income, you want to pop a, couple hundred or whatever in on the week, then that's cool. That's your deal. You're not really expecting a major return out of it. And if you get one, then frickin' A right.
I shared an article from a local news station out here in Las Vegas to the Morning Wood page, and it was listing. It's the 19th month in a row. 19. That's almost 2 years. 19 months in a row that the Las Vegas casinos have shown over $1 billion profit. Profit, not what they took in. Profit. A B, like a billion, like biatch, billion, okay? And it's over $1.25 billion in the month of September. And that's the 19th month in a row. They're not in it. Nobody's giving any money away. Yeah. So it's hard to
not a charity.
What I do, what I tell people I do is I try to find an edge on games, like to Scott's point. I'm looking for an edge. I'm looking for somewhere to be on that, an angle of some sort. And it's not like, it's not like you're just like, oh, I'm a Lions fan, so here's $100 a week on Lions games. I
think the main difference is probably the motivation based on which games we actually pick compared to recreational bettors. Because most people who just bet for the hell of it or gamble, it's on TV. They're going to watch the thing. They just want to see a game with some extra motivation and potentially to build a bit of a sweat out of it. So they kind of do it for the adrenaline. As for actual professional bettors, we don't care if the game is in Alaska. We don't give a damn. If there's money involved, we're trying to get paid. I feel like the motivation is different.
Little series over here.
I bet on Russian table tennis.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm betting on 12-year-olds to hit the ball far. Okay, all he wants to do is hit dingers. Okay, that's all he came here to do. Now I'm betting on that little chubby bastard to hit a dinger. And come on, So
and because college basketball season is right on its cusp. I mean, remember, we are not the people that are betting on Duke UNC. We are the people that are betting on Bill and Mare and Austin P.
Yes,
that all rhymed. That should be the opener of this show.
No, I'm not saying that recreational bettors can't bet on smaller sports, but if you want to talk about the motivation for why a lot of people do it, it's because it's a high-profile game, usually, and they can watch it in some capacity. Like, they need to actually watch their action take place. I think professionals really don't. I think you do a lot of the research on paper and pen, and you go through the stats, and you feel like you have a good edge on something. The public doesn't really care. You look at a game, and say, Patrick Mahomes. I'll lay whatever the hell it takes.
I saw that State Farm
Brady.
commercial. Yeah, I saw that State Farm commercial. I have State
Yeah.
Farm. Honey, let's put $100 on the guy from State Farm. You know what I mean?
Did you see the clip of Russell Wilson with the press conference? How am I supposed to back him getting 5 points? Like, I feel like a lot of it's just based on motivation and really just the effort put in. A lot of people that do it for fun or just do it recreationally don't fully bother to really dive into all the numbers. And I feel like most pros do because you have to.
Yeah. Well, and what it really is coming down to is value, right? I mean, that's why we're doing all the research is we're trying to find value. And just like Breaking Vegas says, my brother says he isn't into it, but he'll throw 500 on LSU Bama every year. He's so far behind, he'll never catch up. So that's obviously gambling. You know, part of why we look at the smaller schools and why we look at games that are not as televised or primetime is because there is inherently more value in them. They're going to get less action. The lines aren't quite as sharp. That's exactly what we're looking for is the value of it all. JoJo says like real estate stocks and now sports betting. And right now sports betting is more consistent than anything. There you go.
Well, I've said this before and Allie knows because we've talked prior to Morning Wood and all this stuff when I first came on to pick some parlays and stuff like that. COVID made me bet more as a income as opposed to a hobby. Because even when I worked a 9 to 5 and I worked every day and, you know, 15 million jobs.
I'm going to go kill my child. Excuse me.
That's fine. Go kill your child. Well, you know, being 19, summer job, working in a meatpacking company with my cousin. And we had these little football tickets and they were like a sheet of paper that were like a napkin, but they were only like this wide and long, and you just circled the number, and on the back, depending on how many teams, and you just took college or NFL, and you turned that slip in every week. Shit, we were betting on sports for the fun of it. You know, now, you know.
You mean the Pick 5 contest?
Well, my bookie back then, it was like you could go up to 4. You could go as minimal as 4 teams. You could go as high as like 10 or 12.
Oh, so it was a parlay card.
It was kind of like a parlay card, yeah. But you had to, you know, it was very similar parlay card, you know, and you had to turn it in by Thursday, and you know, and you got them on Tuesday, and you know, if you're playing a Thursday night game, you had to turn them in by then, and you know, it was a straight up bookie. I mean, you know, it was Timmy Two Fingers down the street. You know what I'm saying? He held everything, and you know, if you wanted to bet a game, you had to call him. You know, and
you had to say your account number and the password and
you know, and
what's the line on this game? And then they tell you, and you're like, all right, I want it, or give it to me.
Yeah, exactly. You know, all right, you know, and then I had to, you know, and that's kind of how I became Detroit Lenny, is because I was the white kid from Detroit, and my bookie was not in Detroit, and he's like, oh yeah, Detroit Lenny, and then and I'm like, yeah, because I'd be like, hey, it's Lenny. What's the line on this? You know,
so you're always calling up on Detroit games, also probably.
Well, you know,
just saying,
pretty much, yeah. And I'm like, you know, what's the line on this game? And he'd go, "Oh, who is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Lenny." And he's like, "Oh, is this Detroit Lenny?" Or I'm like, at first it was, "Is this white Lenny?"
It's probably convenient. It's convenient.
There were two Lennys. One was white, one was black.
Name. Yeah, you go location.
Yeah, and then he's like, and I'm like, I just didn't. We weren't comfortable using on the phone white Lenny and black Lenny. So he's like, oh, you're Lenny. I know you. You're Lenny from Detroit. And I'm like, yeah. Now I just became Detroit Lenny.
You're like Jenny from the block.
I'm like Jenny from the block. Yeah.
You're Lenny from the block.
I'm an around the way girl. LL told me.
Who are you liking today, Rachel?
So for me, I did a couple of plays I was considering in the NBA. Got the Raptors today against the 76ers. They just played, so usually back-to-backs are a bit tricky, but I really just think Toronto matches up well against this Philly team. Money's coming on Philly. I'm not surprised. You know, the public's going to bet on Harden, Embiid, and all those guys because they have to turn it around. They're too talented. They really don't. I think Doc Rivers is a bad coach. I think most people would agree with that by now. I think the book's kind of out on him. But you're looking at what Philly's been really bad at this season. They're not a good defensive team, especially in transition. Embiid doesn't really run that much. Are the Raptors -2 right now?
Yeah, that's what I see.
I thought Philly was -1 this morning. Raptors are -2?
I've got Raptors -2.
That's good for me. Let's go. Okay, I saw Philly was -1 this morning. That's why I expected money to come in, but I'm really concerned about Philly's overall roster. Their backup centers are either Montrezl Harrell or Paul Reed. They don't have a backup center. That's the problem. And Embiid,
Right.
Embiid has back-to-back games with 5 rebounds. 5. Embiid. Like, Embiid's arguably the best center in the league, probably second best. I think Jokic is better. Philly's 28th in rebounding rate with Embiid. Like, they're not doing anything well that you expect them to. Offensively, they're talented, but I am concerned that they go a little bit too slow in terms of pace, and Toronto wants to speed them up like they did with Siakam at center in the back half of the playoff series last year and in the first meeting. Toronto outscored them 29-17 in fast break points. And with Harden and Embiid, do you think either of them want to sprint back on defense after a turnover? Of course not. So I like Toronto because I think they're going to push the pace.
Let me ask you about the Lakers, because I did this free pick with Cam Ross yesterday. And
You're asking about the Lakers? Okay.
Yeah, because he took the Lakers +7. And it's, fading the Lakers is a full-time job. We all know that. But is today the day we take the day off? Because looking over the strength of schedule, they're playing the Timberwolves, right?
Minnesota hasn't played anybody. They played Oklahoma City twice. They played San Antonio
Well, it's not
twice.
even that they haven't played anybody, but like in their last 5, they played OKC twice, and I think they played the Spurs twice.
Played Spurs twice. They had the Jazz thrown in there as well.
Yeah,
they actually lost to the Jazz in overtime.
They lost to the Jazz in Utah. But Lakers +7 when they played the Warriors, they played the Clippers, they played the Nuggets, they played somebody else.
Played the Blazers.
The Blazers, yeah. What do you think about and let me look at where this money is going. Also, it was T-Wolves -8.5. It's a 7 now. 57% of the money is on the Lakers. Typically, there's a Laker tax. I don't know how much we still have that. What do you think about the Lakers and the T-Wolves? That's my question. Cam likes the Lakers.
Going into the year, I was low in Minnesota because everyone thought they were basically I think that they have talent. I'm just not sold on if Gobert and Towns can actually work together based on spacing. And so far this season, Towns has been an afterthought. He really hasn't done much this season at all. Gobert's had moments. Edwards has been really good.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like the Ant-Man.
I'm looking at the Lakers, though, and the roster sucks. I don't know what there is to like about this team. LeBron hasn't even been as great as he usually is because he's older. But Anthony Davis gets hurt every game. I saw a stat earlier today. Anthony Davis on jump shots this season is shooting roughly 16% on jump shots. He's fallen off a cliff, and he also can't stay healthy. So I'm looking at the Lakers. Defensively, they're good for some reason. They're a good defensive team. Offensively, they're as bad as like the 9-win Charlotte Bobcats. Like dating back to 2000, they have an offensive rating below 98, which is like one of the worst.
There's a Charlotte Bobcat out there somewhere who's like, why you got to bring up old shit?
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
I'm just saying, you're looking at the offensive rating, it's around like 97. There's been 3 teams since 2000 and change that have had an offensive rating that bad, and one of them was the Hornets, who had the worst record in the history of the sport. Like, I'm just saying, it's really bad offensively for the Lakers. They can't shoot. Every game, they're shooting like 20% from 3. And you could argue, one game, maybe they get hot. Maybe they figure it out. I don't know if Westbrook's going to play. I don't think it matters. The Lakers are not going to blow every game. They'll win something.
Right.
But the Timberwolves are a young team.
Yeah, they're not going 0-82.
Edwards, I'm sure, will be motivated. Edwards thinks he's better than LeBron. He'll try to put up 30 in this game just based on mental confidence. But I think Gobert defensively is going to do well. He's going to dominate the glass. And I am low on this Minnesota team, but I'm even lower on this Lakers team. They're really, really bad, and I'm going to fade them.
And there's that angle, too. You kind of just brought it up with Anthony Edwards that he thinks he's better than LeBron, that, there is that angle of when you go to play against the best. I mean, we should say the king, I guess, that, heavy is the head. When these younger guys are playing against LeBron, this is their shot to play against LeBron. So there's definitely
Edwards
in there.
I mean, if you listen to interviews with Edwards, he claims that he can pick up a sport randomly and be the best in the world at it. Edwards has all-time level confidence in himself, and he should. Number 1 overall pick. He's been a very good player in his young career. Should be a superstar in this league. But if you're talking about a chip on his shoulder and a guy who constantly wants to prove he's the best player in the world, Edwards is on a short list of guys who believe that. And I do think that when you go up against LeBron, especially a post-prime LeBron, Edwards is going to take it personally. And I'm not saying he's going to go for 40. I'm just saying I don't think Minnesota is afraid. I don't think any team is afraid of the Lakers at this point. You had an aura about LeBron his entire career. You had an aura about LeBron, which is, well, he's probably going to go for 40. We're going to lose. And now you look at the Lakers and you're kind of licking your chops a bit, saying, oh, we're going to kick this team's ass. And I feel like most teams, instead of being afraid of the Lakers, now circle it on the calendar as a potential free win because this team is actually that bad.
Okay, so talk to me kind of a similar spot. We've got like a veteran team against a younger team. The Pelicans are at the Suns. When 90% of the money on the Pelicans, the Suns -6 went to a Suns -7. So that line didn't move the right way, but there are 64% of the tickets on the Suns. What are you thinking about Pelicans Suns tonight?
I think based on the injury report, if you're betting on the Pelicans, you're lighting your money on fire. There's no reason to bet on the Pelicans right now. This injury report looks like a tankathon. And I know the Pelicans are a good team, but you're looking at who's potentially out for this game. It looks like a mid-January tank job for Wembanyama because you're looking at the Pelicans' overall injury report. Ingram has a concussion. He's not playing. Zion's still questionable because he has a bruised something. I know he fell on his ass and he got injured. I don't know what you want to call it. A glute? A sprained glute, something that he might not play. Herb Jones hurt his knee. He didn't play last game either. Alvarado's questionable as well. And McCollum's questionable. So New Orleans might be missing 4 starters. They had an off day yesterday.
That's kind of your whole team.
That's kind of your whole team. And I know that the Pelicans won without without Zion and Ingram against Dallas. They killed me personally. I had Dallas in that game. But still, the point is the Pelicans might be missing so many guys that I can't bet them right now. Now, if you want to wait and take the Pelicans and you find out Zion's playing and you find out they're going to be a bit healthier, maybe I don't mind it. But right now, the Pelicans might be missing like 6 of their key rotation guys. There's no chance I'm taking them in this game until I know who's going to play.
Why is there so much money on them? I wonder then. Like 90% of the money is an F ton of money.
Well, Pelicans are a good team. I'm assuming most people who bet it either overnight didn't realize. They thought that maybe Zion would be back or something like that.
And the Spurs are a little bit disastrous at times as well. Okay, so Bill McDonald wants to know about Cavaliers and the Celtics, which Celtics -6 went to a 6.5 with 51% of the money on Celtics. So the book is definitely evening out there. What do you 223 went all the way down to a 218.5. 57% of the money, 63% of the tickets is now on the over. I'm assuming it's over that 218.5. What do you think about Cavs at Celtics?
Yeah, so he's mentioned the Cavs and the Pelicans. So once again, I lean Suns now. If there's updates on the injury report in favor of New Orleans where they get more guys back, maybe I'll consider. But right now, it's Suns or pass. As for the actual Cavaliers game, I'm going to take the Cavs plus the points here. I just think it's too many. And I think when you're talking about what Boston does well, we saw they wanted to play faster this season against Philly, against Milwaukee. They just want to play faster. And it seems like that's been the real adjustment they've made offensively. And yet you're looking at what Cleveland does. They play a lot slower. Now, Garland's out. I'm not concerned. He hasn't played the last 3 games. And the truth is Mitchell has the ball in his hands the entire time anyway. So it's not like Garland really had a role right now once they got Mitchell. But it's really going to come down to paint defense and rebounding because the Celtics got run out of the building by the Bulls. And the main story in that game was Vucevic. And he had himself a birthday double-double where he had 23 rebounds. I know Vucevic is a good player. 23 rebounds is crazy. And they're missing Robert Williams. They have Al Horford as the center now. You have to deal with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, probably the best defensive front court in the league. Allen can walk into 15 rebounds in any given game he wants to. I think Cleveland's going to kill them on the glass in this game. And if you're going to give me 6.5 with a very good team, we know Mitchell can drop 30 at the drop of a hat. But defensively, they're very good. And rebounding-wise, they're very, very good. I think Cleveland has value here, especially after Boston got killed by a Chicago team because they couldn't rebound the ball.
Okay, so we go Cavs on that side.
Yeah, I just think it's too many points. I think that spread should be closer to 3.5.
Line up. That's what's up. So Pedro has been cashing on Devin Booker over points. He said he's been hitting on the Booker overs. And JoJo said he's been hitting on the Marcus Smart unders. So Booker is a Sun, Smart is a Celtic, if any of you guys want to tail those picks right? Booker's the Sun, Smart's the
Yeah,
Celtics.
that's right.
That's all the same. Okay. Same as last year. Okay, good.
I was going to correct you if you were wrong, but you weren't wrong.
Yeah.
I kept my mouth shut.
I'm proud of myself for remembering things. This is why it does help to grade like these things. Those two I did already know, but on the off chance that they got traded,
does help.
I didn't know about it. We said that Zion is injured at a rate of every 2 games he plays. You guys know I get heated over this Zion thing. And this goes back to Duke, the whole shoe thing. Do you think injuries is conditioning issue when one guy's always injured? I think it's a huge waste of money. I don't think he should have been a number 1 draft pick. I brought this up over and over, and everyone's like, just wait. It's been 3 years. You could have had Ja Morant. You could have had RJ Barrett in that draft. They went 2
Don't
and 3.
you dare don't throw RJ and don't throw that name into the mix.
At least he plays the
I don't give a
game.
damn. I can't even say I'm roasting a Duke player because Zion's a Duke player, but you're out of your mind if you think Barrett was in the same league as those 2 guys.
He was the 3rd draft pick.
Yeah, it's great for him. He wasn't close to the first 2 guys. Doesn't change my point.
Nonetheless, I would rather have a guy who plays than a guy who doesn't. Even the amount of bench space that Zion takes up, just in full body mass, he takes
even
up
if his name is Ben Simmons.
Too much.
I'm just saying because he plays. He can't. I shared something on Twitter last night. He had a little give and go with Durant and whatever.
And he airballed the layup.
Yeah, and he airballed the layup. And somebody I saw on Twitter from Detroit Sports that I follow, and he was like, is this like some kind of like Michael Jordan? Did the aliens come down and steal his powers and from Space Jam? Like in Space Jam, has anybody checked Ben Simmons to see if the aliens have taken his powers?
I'm just going to say, if aliens are stealing his powers, then a lot of the big name guys weren't available. That's all I'm saying. If they were trying to steal Ben Simmons' powers of all people.
I guess. I'm just saying that guy, like, Ben, I'm not piling on.
RJ, I'm looking at his stats. 28 minutes, 18 points against the Pistons, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Against the Magic, 38 minutes, 20 points.
Didn't he go 4 for 20 against like Memphis in the first game of the season? I know they just paid him. I don't think Barrett's a bad player. I just think he's a guy you're not going to build your franchise around. And I'm not saying Zion can stay healthy for long enough. But when Zion is healthy, big if, he's a top 20 player in the league. I will never say that about RJ Barrett. I'm not sure Barrett's even a top 40 player in the league.
I'm just saying, coming out of college, I'm not into spending so much money on maybes. I'm just not into that.
That's fair. I thought going into the draft, Zion and Morant, if they would stay healthy, were guaranteed Hall of Famers. Just a no-brainer.
Who was the big guy, the bust for Philly? Wasn't it Philly? The big guy, and he hurt his foot.
You got about Jaleel Okafor? Sam Bowie? Who are you talking about? Sam Bowie was Portland. Oh, it was Okafor. Okay.
Yeah. From Philly. He got drafted by Philly, right?
He got drafted by Philly instead of Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah,
Towns was drafted first, though, so they didn't have a choice, but still. He
was another one, like, another guy.
Didn't he also go to Duke? Wasn't Okafor?
Yeah, he went to Duke. He was on the Duke team that lost to Lehigh in the first round.
F you, Scott Reich. I'm done. Right now. It's over. I don't need either one of them. I don't need either one of their asses bringing up old stuff like that. Jeez.
I'm just saying.
If you want to talk about that team.
Like whatever the opposite of a safe word is, Lehigh is that for me.
Just saying. He was on that team. So.
My safe word in college basketball is Okafor.
I'm just going to point this out, though, for Zion. He's been healthy for 1 year. In 2020 to 2021, he played 61 games out of 82, okay? In that season, he averaged 27 points per game on 61.1% shooting. Like, he's easily a top 20 player in the league when he's healthy. Like, it's not even a discussion. He's basically Barkley when he's healthy. He's never healthy. So if you want to make an argument about who should have been number 1, it's Ja. And Ja's gotten hurt too. But based on what we've seen so far, Ja should have been the first pick. Even now, I'm not taking Barrett over Zion. I don't give a damn. I don't think Barrett's that good of a player. I think Barrett's a decent player. If you're going to win a title, what is Barrett? Your 3rd best player? Your 4th best player? Probably.
That escalated quick. I know, right? I didn't know.
Is that fair, though?
I didn't
know.
I'd
ask you that.
Yeah, it's fair. But no, it's like, would I Would I pick Barrett over Zion, knowing what I know now? Yes, but back then, no. So I get
Back
what you're
then,
saying.
it was
I would have taken
guaranteed
Ja first
Zion
and
Ja.
Zion second.
Yeah.
But would we say, is it fair to say that we think Barrett has basically ceilinged? He's hit his ceiling of what he's going to be.
We could have said that about Al Horford, and then last year happened.
Well, I'm just saying that, but Zion has yet to hit his ceiling, even with all the injuries.
But that's the thing about injuries. You don't get you don't get injured and then come back better, and then get injured again and come back better and injured again. Like injuries stack up, I feel like, and wear your body down. I don't know. I
think he's injured so he can get out of New Orleans eventually.
I mean, you look at injuries, they're definitely not going to get better over time, but you have a couple of exceptions. Curry got injured all the time his first couple of years. Then he had a couple of, what do you have, stem cells procedures on his ankles with stem cells, I think. And then he turned into the best shooter of all time, and he's been healthy.
And he had to do that. He had to do that out of the country, I believe.
I'm saying there are a couple of exceptions. Kobe had a bunch of knee
procedures. That doesn't count for using steroids or something.
Kobe flew to Germany half the time for knee procedures because he wanted to get specific stuff done.
Manning that's why Indy cut his ass, because they would not let him go overseas to get stem cell surgery in his neck or whatever.
They thought he was going to have to retire, but there
and he was like, "F you! I'm getting this surgery, and I'm going to come out and I'm going to win a Super Bowl somewhere else."
Obviously, the injuries are a red flag for Zion. I'm just saying when he's healthy.
It's just how big he is. Being that big and healing, that's a big part. It's not just being injured. It's being that big of a dude and trying to heal. That much weight on your knees. I just learned this from Mark Rober's science video about the 3 square thing, like at the cube, and our bodies have to grow at the same rate as our muscles and bones do. Because
I'm more
otherwise,
of a Bill Nye guy, if I'm being honest. I'm more of a Bill Nye guy, if I'm being honest.
Man, check out Mark Rober and Devil's Toothpaste. It's the
Did
bomb.
you know that Bill Nye is a bit of a science guy? Did you know that?
I've heard. I'm much older than you, and I used to watch that when I was a small child.
I watched it when it wasn't cool.
Yeah, exactly. I watched it when it wasn't cool. When it was on right after Bob Ross.
The only point I'm going to...
Bob Ross.
It's all about the happy clouds. But either way, I do think the one point I'll make, just to wrap it up, if I was starting a franchise right now and I wanted to win a title, I would pick Zion over Barrett. I would pick Zion over Barrett.
I wouldn't, because Zion's just an empty spot in your roster. Unless you can guarantee.
It's really the what if. I really am not a Barrett guy. I don't know what Barrett's ceiling is. I really think he's arguably the fourth best player on the title team.
I put myself in a spot where now I'm defending someone who I'm not all that high on either. He just happened to be in that draft as well. It's not like I'm some huge RJ Barrett fan. My ultimate point is that he plays basketball on the court with the people, and we pay him to do that.
I get
Zion sits on the bench and
he does
not play the basketball. And so that is the inherent value to me, is drafting a guy that plays or does not play. That's really...
It's about the value of availability. I get it. I'm just not a big fan of his game. I think that Barrett's a guy who thinks he's better than he actually is, and he'll be a starter or even a sixth man on a championship team, but you want him to be your third or fourth leading scorer. To defend Barrett, though, he did never lose to Lehigh, so...
Motherfucker.
All right, guys. With that being said,
hold on, real quick.
You might want to follow him. I wouldn't. He's totally rude. I would. Yes, 30 seconds.
Time. Hold on. There is a baseball game tonight. Now that
that's right. We got World Series stuff.
We've been fans of Lehigh. Let's talk about Game 1, World Series. Can we get a pick out of somebody here?
Right, Shell. Who do you like?
I'm on both. Real quick. My favorite bet of this game is both pitchers over strikeout props. Nola is over 5.5, and Verlander over 6.5. I think so. I like both. That's my favorite bet of this game.
Nola, go ahead, Scott. I'm typing.
So I think this one's tricky because Verlander, despite being one of the best pitchers of his generation, has never won a World Series game. He's just 0-for. He's never won there. Yeah, maybe a little bit tighter on the throat, maybe. Can't tell. Maybe some acid reflux. Maybe he's choking. I don't know. But either way, I do think Houston's going to win the series. I think they'll win in 5. I just think they're a much better team. I think if you're talking about the overall pitcher for Philly, they have a nice 1-2 punch. The problem is, I think they picked the wrong guy. I think Wheeler should be starting Game 1.
I wondered about that too. I kind of would have started Wheeler against Verlander and then saved Nola for Game 2. I
just think Wheeler's a better pitcher than Nola. It's really how I break it down. And in the playoffs too, he's been better. Nola got shelled against the Padres his last time out. I'm kind of leaning to the over, maybe for a team total for Houston. Nola really got shelled in that Padres game, and I'm not sure if he's going to go distance or not. And the issue you run in with Philly, if your starters can't give you length, you hate the bullpen anyway. Do you really want the bullpen to go 4 innings in there? Probably not.
No.
I think Verlander is probably going to end up pitching decently tonight. Maybe 5-6 innings, 3 runs. I think Nola could have problems. But if you're asking my thoughts on the game, I guess I'm leaning Houston because I only have Houston losing 1 game in the series. Right. I just think Houston's a much better team.
I will say this quickly. Verlander, if he gets out of the first inning, he's money.
That's a prop that I'm actually considering. I don't mind.
That's his problem. That's in years of watching him in big games. Nerves get to him. He will get stronger as the game goes on. If he gets out of the first 2 innings, say, without giving up a run or a hit or anything crazy like that, it's freaking over. I'm just telling you right now, Philly don't have a chance. He'll go 8 innings and he will shut them down.
If you want a prop, to touch upon that, I don't mind run first inning. We've seen Verlander struggle in World Series games, especially
and
early
we've seen Kyle Schwarber bash 2 of them in 2 games.
How many World Series games has Nola ever been in? 0. So I think nerves could play a factor, especially in Houston. Yeah. So the way that I see it, I'm looking at potentially a run first inning. I'm usually a nerfy guy, but I do think in this spot you could argue that a Yurfie might be worth a shot there. And probably it's going to be plus money. I mean, based on how low the total is.
Because it's like minus 150.
That's what I'm saying. So the Yurfie's probably like plus 120, plus 130 maybe. I don't mind that.
It's worth the sprinkle.
And even in Verlander's last start against the Yankees, he was awful in the first 2 innings, and then he was nails from there. So
he's just got to get past the first 2 innings, and then he's money. But that even if I'm on both over props, I kind of really dig the over 6.5, because once you get to Philly's bullpen, Houston's gonna single the shit out of this series.
Yeah, I like the over as well. I'm not taking the under.
Any 6.5, just like inherently, I want to go over.
I'll take the under in game 2 with Wheeler, but I also think Wheeler is much better than Nola. I really don't know why they used Nola here, because you're arguing based on off days. Nola's going to pitch game 1, game 4, 5.
Yeah.
And then you could argue short rest 7. Like, or is the argument that Wheeler would go 2 and then not be used again until, like, I feel like Wheeler should be trying to pitch 3 times in the series if he can. Right. At least 2, maybe 1 time out of the bullpen.
I do like the Astros win this series, and it's raw. Whoever said it the other day, Dan Kaiser, I think I'll give credit to him.
Do you have a
Destiny versus Dynasty.
Destiny versus Dynasty.
At the end of the day, Philly's happy to be right now where they are. If the season ended right now, Philly's still popping bottles and talking about how great it was to be here. Houston is like, we ain't done shit.
Houston also hasn't lost a playoff game. Like, Houston's been so good, and Philly, they've been great too. But I do have serious concerns about the bullpen. And even the lineup, which is very good, we saw the Yankees strike out a bunch. The Astros might strike out Hoskins like 15 times in the series. I mean, Hoskins is a free swinger. He had a couple of big home runs in that Padres series. A lot of the guys go for broke in that lineup, and I am a bit concerned about that. But Houston's been there before. They've come up short a lot, underratedly a lot. If you look at the World Series losses they've had, I think the Phillies will make it competitive for a bit. I think the games will be competitive. I just think Houston's depth and just overall experience will eventually wear down Philly over the series, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a mission from God, is what it is. They're on a mission from God. They want that title. Be sure to check out ESB's show today. It's on at 2 p.m. Eastern. Okay,
that means you're late to your own show.
Yeah, what the hell?
Okay.
Speaking of this, I've got to go meet him right now to do free picks. And then we've got a Picks and Parlays Power Hour coming up at 3 p.m. Eastern. Check out ESB at 2 p.m. Eastern, then Power Hour at 3 p.m. Eastern. Game Time Decision with Lenny and the Twins is at 5 p.m. Eastern. And I've got 2 Total Chaoses for you tonight. There's already NBA Total Chaos out with the Insiders Room. So you guys can search that one right now for 5 games that are going on tonight. And then I'll do a college football with Scott Reichel and Rossman fan. And then NFL with Terry Edelman and Chip Chirimbus is who's doing that against you today, Terry, if you're still in the chat. So keep your eyes open. And that's also why you want to make sure to like and subscribe, share with your friends, ring the bell for notifications. Also subscribe to the Earl Sports Bets YouTube, guys. They're trying to get 3,000 subs. They're getting really close. So subscribe to them. Don't forget about my FanDuel No Sweat First Bet up to $1,000 for all new accounts. No Sweat First Bet. The link is in the description of this video. No primetime prop drop today. We don't do it on Fridays, but you've been rocking right along, Scott Reichel. I see in the comments you've been making people some money. So excellent work there. If you guys in the chat, the viewers are looking for a promo code over at picksandparlays.net where you buy premium plays from Earl Sports Bets or Cam Ross, Craig Trapp, use this promo code NFL and it's going to save you 20% off whatever you get. Scott Reichel, real quick, tell them who you are, where they can find more of you.
So you can find me on Twitter at Reichel Radio. Besides that, doing free picks every night on the Winners and Whiners page. Been a bit cold lately. Happens. Part of gambling. So we'll bounce back out of it at some point. Besides that, still doing the primetime prop drop 4 days a week. On this show, of course, on Fridays. Doing the Total Chaos on Friday night, which should be fun. Check that out later. And besides that, got the college football show with Steen in about 5 minutes. So,
all right. So move on over and check out Reichel and the college football show. This is worth mentioning. So just throw this out there. Breaking Vegas says it makes sense if you start with Nola. If you steal game one, yay. Then you follow with Wheeler and can possibly go up 2-0. You're supposed to lose game one on the road. So Nola makes sense. That's a good angle. I see that.
I think that means you're playing to lose. I really have a hard time following that.
I see it, but I don't.
Who's to say that Nola can't win? I mean, I'm
not saying he can't win, but the Yankees did the same thing. They had game 5 against Cleveland, and they had no day off, and then they used basically the C squad bullpen, arguing, well, we weren't supposed to win it anyway, so let's rest everybody for the other games. They got swept. My argument is you have an inexperienced World Series team against an experienced World Series team. You don't want to fall behind 1-0. I get the point. You're supposed to lose game 1. It's a loser's mentality. Philly was supposed to not be here. I think if you want to put your best foot forward and try to put the pressure on, I don't think you should just you're willingly setting yourself up for a disadvantage because if this goes well, then we have a great chance. It just seems like you're playing for a loser's mentality. I'd rather be up 1-0.
All right. That's a good call, too. Good argument.
I understand the angle. I would just rather try to get off the hot start.
I see it both ways.
You could make an argument either way.
You're digging a hole.
All right, we got a box.
Digging.
We got to get out of here. We got other shows. Go follow Reichel to the college football show over on Winners and Whiners. He likes the Raptors -2 today. Lenny likes both of the pitchers over in strikeouts. He's working on circa picks, but Raiders, Pats, Giants, Bengals is where we're at now. Thank you guys so much for joining me on Morning Wood today. Good luck to everybody. Go Astros. Good luck unless you're against Lenny or the Astros.
Yeah, both, either one.